Welcome to Figure Feedback. My name is Jeremy, and today I'm going to show you the new filament dryer from Flashforge, and this is called the VDS filament dryer, or the ventilated drying system. This particular dryer is compatible with the Creator 5 and the Creator 5 Pro series of printers, meaning that it shares interconnectivity from the dryer to the printer. So there's some communication going on there via this data cable that you can see is plugged into the printer right there. Now, I don't know how much this dryer costs at the moment. When I find out, I'll put it in the description along with a link to where you can find this on Flashforge's website. But for now, I just want to give you a rundown of what this dryer does. And thank you to Flashforge for sending this to me so I can do this type of video. So as you can see, the front of the printer has this screen, and the printer is supposed to sit like this. Normally with a filament dryer, we're more used to filament dryers sitting kind of like at this sort of angle, kind of like how an AMS will be set up. But with this, it's supposed to go just like this, where there's less space being taken up left to right, but you get more depth front to back. All right. And this filament dryer has two different chambers. So I've got 4 different PLA filaments here, and it's separated into 2 filaments per chamber. So the white and the black occupy one chamber, and then the yellow and the blue occupy another chamber. Here's what the inside of one of the chambers looks like. You can see over on the far side, we have a compartment there for desiccant packs. Flashforge did provide 4 desiccant packs, so you can just put those there. It'll help keep the humidity down. And then you also see some PTFE tubes that run from the bottom of the chamber and is going to go out from the filament dryer so that you can load it inside of the Creator 5. And there's 2 different places where filament can go out of. If you're just going to print with PLA and PETG, more stiff filaments like that, then you're going to run your filament through that hole there so that it can go through the PTFE tubes. That's very similar to what you see here. That's how the regular filament is going to go through. And as you push the filament down even more, is going to come out of the rear just like that, and then that's what you would take over to the filament. You see that compartment right there. There's also another compartment located right here. This is for TPU or carbon fiber filled filaments. You run those through this port, and you run the other filaments through the port at the bottom. And from there, it's just like how you would load the Creator 5 normally. You take that filament and you run it all the way through that inlet there, run it through those tubes down into the chamber, and you will be good to go. They don't provide like a long PTFE tube so that you can have this distance completely covered and completely sealed with a PTFE tube. I'm sure someone will find a solution for that if they haven't already, but that's just how it's going to work with this dryer. So this dryer can go up to 85 degrees Celsius. So it's going to cover the vast majority of filaments that you might want to dry. Maybe not some of the more higher tier engineering grade filaments that may need more higher temperatures than that, around 90 to 100 degrees Celsius. But for the most part, this is going to be able to adequately dry the filament that you have. This right here is not a full touch screen. The only buttons that you can touch are down here at the bottom here. So you can press this first one here and it's going to move in between the different temperatures. So as you can see, it's at 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, and it goes to 85 right there. So that's going to be your max. And then you can also hit it again so that you can go to your time. It can go up to 24 hours. And this is just for the first chamber, which is chamber A, which is labeled on the handle for each compartment. And then you can just move down and do the same thing for chamber B. You also notice here on the left side, we have the relative humidity, which is 25% currently in chamber A, 22% currently in chamber B. And there's also a feature that you can use that will automatically make the dryer function when it falls beneath a certain threshold for the relative humidity when it's connected to the printer. And I'll show you that now. Now I'm using the Creator 5 Pro and it is currently on firmware 1.9.6. And I believe that's the latest firmware that added compatibility with the VDS filament dryer. So if you want to use this, then you are going to have to update that firmware. And once you do that and you connect the data cable from the dryer to the printer, when you go over to the different filament settings, you'll notice that there is a new option for VDS on the top. So you go ahead and press that, and now you have access to the dryer. You can control it from here. So you can control them individually for chamber A and chamber B. You can go to preset dry, and it says down here, preset dry defaults to drying both chambers simultaneously. So if you wanted to dry both chambers at the same time because you have the same filaments, you can choose PLA series, PETG series, or ABS series and other, and you have those three presets that's going to be used automatically. When you want to just use one at a time, you can just click on each individual chamber and you can set your drying times and your drying temperatures. And you can also use a variety of different presets that they have set up. So if I wanted to do PAHT carbon fiber, you see it's going to give me 80 degrees Celsius for 12 hours. If I do PETG, it's going to give me 65 degrees for 8 hours, so on and so forth. So those are going to be your presets. And then you can go right over to chamber B and do the exact same thing. And you can run them individually at individual temperatures at the exact same time. You have dual dry, which is going to start drying them at the exact same time. So as you can see here, they are currently both drying. And then what you could also do here is you could stop them individually. And it does have different sounds that play. You can turn those off if you want. You can go down to the settings and the settings will tell you, here's the drying completion sound, the drying completion notification. If you got filament tips, you got the firmware version, factory reset, a guide, and an about page. And then here is the auto dehumidification setting. So when you have this setting on, you can set a humidity target. That's the level of humidity that you want to stay within the filament dryer. And then you can set the dehumidification threshold. So in this case, this says that if it reaches 50% relative humidity, then the dryer is going to turn on by itself and it's going to keep running until it reaches the 30% humidity level, and then it will turn itself off. So you can continue to do that if you want to just make sure that humidity stays within your grasp. So that's the VDS filament dryer. One more thing that I forgot to mention is you're wondering how moisture escapes while you're printing or while you're drying. This right here, this is where the moist air is going to escape from. So you don't have to worry about that moist air being trapped inside of the dryer. It is going to be ventilated through here. All right, so that is pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments, if this is something that you will want to get for your Creator 5 or Creator 5 Pro. I'm going to continue to use this. And then if anything comes up in the future, there's new features that get added or whatever, I'll be sure to let you know. So that's it. Till next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you soon.